May has rolled past its halfway mark and reality has set in. The countdown to summer is on and our gîte renovations are behind schedule. Will it be ready to welcome guests this summer? One thing was certain, this was going to be a race to the finish. I was vacuuming because it was time to grout the floor in the back kitchen. It was fantastic news because it was the last job to do before the floor was finished. And this was my first mistake of the week. Well, this isn't going very well at all. I guess it was a mistake really, but I haven't treated any of the new tiles with linseed oil to help seal them. Which means the second that the grout was touching them, the tiles were sucking all the liquid out of the grout and the grout seemed to be drying instantly, turning from slop into powder before I can get it in, and I'm struggling to force it in. The grout float is utterly useless. So I'm just going to use what I can. Some of the tiles, the older ones, they're sealed, so they're fine, but this is a bit of a cock-up. The other reason I'm desperate to get this grouting done is this area absolutely stinks, and that's because the bloody kittens kept using this area as a toilet when it was all dusty. So no matter how many times I've sweat, oh yes, speaking of trouble, this thing, going to the toilet around here, was that your plan? Were you going to go to the toilet again around here? I think not, Buster. So yes, my lovely little kittens, do nothing but cause trouble. And yeah, even though I've swept up and cleaned the area wherever they've gone to the toilet, I've cleaned it up, but it just stinks. Their cap here is permeated, so I'm trying to get it all sealed so that the smell goes away. Disgusting pussycats. Because just cleaning these off is going to be a nightmare as well. It's so much mess. Not a good start to the week. All I could do was wash off the excess with plenty of clean water and let the tiles dry out before applying linseed oil. Lesson learned. The section was complete, and then I realised my second mistake of the week. The grout was the wrong colour. It needed to be a lighter grey. Well, that's not gone according to plan at all. But I've cleaned it off and it's not looking too bad now. So I'll let that dry, see what it looks like. If the tiles that haven't been treated with linseed oil need more scrubbing, then I'll have to do that. Once they're dry, I'll get them coated with linseed oil, and all of the other tiles, the new tiles, they're going to have to be washed before I can then linseed oil them and before I can then grout. So it's going to be a bit of a process, sadly. I was hoping just to get a section done and feel like I've got something done and move on to the next thing tomorrow, but no, because it never works out like that. The reason I've got to wash all the tiles is that I had to cut them all down to size. And these tiles, these terracotta tiles, when you're cutting them with the table tile cutter, it's cooled with water. And so all the dust turns to slop, the slop spreads over the tile, and then the slop dries and the tile becomes powdery. And so all of these new tiles are really dusty on the top because of the cutting process. So that's just another problem I've got to deal with. But for now, I'm going to let that dry. The whole floor needs to be washed anyway, because this floor is still a little bit dirty from all the times that this room has flooded because of blocked drains outside. But we're getting there, slowly. Welcome to Jane's Find of the Day with Jane.
Hello and welcome to this week's Find of the Day at Chateau de Pican. It's brought to you with the help of at least one spaniel. I'm going to be talking about these two little pots. They're in the shape of pumpkins. So they've got these cute little stalks on top and they're segmented and curved around. You can put things inside. I guess you could put in jewellery or toiletries. When I was trying to research them, I found an example of something that was called an opium jar, which wasn't entirely dissimilar in shape. So that raised a slight question in my mind, whether that was a tradition that these build from. But anyway, on the bottom, they each say that they are hand painted and made in Thailand. There's also the vestige of a sticker that is clearer on this one, and it says Tilia. And I think Tilia is or was a retailer, possibly just in Germany or Germany and France, maybe Germany, France, Scandinavia, I'm not entirely sure. But that doesn't smack of an antique to me. That suggests to me a nice shop in a high street selling pretty things made in Thailand.
Today is very exciting because today I'm getting my hair cut because it's getting a bit long. And me and my dungarees today are going to have a go at building some flat pack garden furniture. How very exciting. So for the formal garden that you can probably see behind me, this is some metal furniture that Jane has bought that I need to put together to go in there to make it all look lovely, so one can sit out and have a cup of tea and a scone or a scone or a French fancy. Ah yes, building flat pack furniture is like a Lego set without the fun. First job was to open everything up and scatter it across the garden. Okay, well I now have a garden full of bits of metal. It's mostly leg and a few other bits, round bits and oddly shaped bits. So, easy peasy, I'll just put it together. And just like that, I was finished. Once the formal garden is completed, it will be a beautiful space, bursting with flowers. A tranquil place to sit, relax, take in the views of the chateau, the lake and the meadows.
Pepper plants with pepper babies.
Are they sweet pepper? Bell peppers?
Yeah, they'll be bell peppers. Yeah. That's not too bad.
So what's in there now?
So we've got a little bit of garlic, we've got some rocket, we've got some slightly sorry looking lettuces and some perky pepper plants.
And trouble. It's time for some tractoring. I shortened the chain on the gyro broiler, thereby helping to set it level when in use. Yay for me! What follows is an error-strewn bungle by two people that weren't given the instruction book. Connecting the PTO shaft has always been a challenge. It's stiff and unwieldy. If I attach the gyro broiler first, the shaft is too long. If I try to force it on my own, I end up yanking it to no avail. So I called in Jane. She grabbed the shaft with both hands, holding it steady while I edged backwards. As soon as we touched, the shaft unexpectedly began to shrink. We didn't notice at first, so we kept playing with it. Ultimately, we realised that no matter how much we waved it around, it wasn't going to work. So we've not managed to get it all attached, and that's because when I tried to reverse the tractor onto the shaft, the shaft got shorter, and a few weeks ago we had a comment by Tim Williscroft, and he said that the PTO shaft can change length, and I couldn't see any way for this one to do it, so I didn't think it could until I reversed the tractor onto it and it got shorter. So so there are two bits of metal I can see here now, that one goes into the other, therefore obviously it shortens. So what I need to do is get, because I can't lengthen it now, so I'm going to WD-40 it, see if I can loosen it up, and then maybe putting this onto that will become a lot easier from then on. It's moving. It's moving quite well now. Still hard work. Oh, well, that tip has saved me a lot of work. I now know how to attach the gyro broyer to the tractor. And that the shaft was really seized, but the WD-40 has loosened it. Hooray! In a bid to make up for the lost half hour it took to attach the mower, one man, without his dog, went to mow a meadow. Looking back, I should have been looking back. The gentle clunk, the subtle shift in pitch, the fact that the grass behind me wasn't actually getting shorter. But in the moment, I was too busy being awesome! The moment that perhaps none of you have been waiting for.
So I haven't been able to find the exact same one of these, but I have been able to find some pots for sale in the States that were very similar in the sense that they were little pumpkin pots. So they weren't these pumpkin pots, but they were also trinket pots. And they are retailing at about $30 to $40 each. So we're not talking about very valuable items. The item that's described as a rare Chinese opium jar, which was similar in shape but not really identical, they wanted 945 euros for that. So obviously if it had been a really old and unique item like that, it would have value. But I think these were mass produced, but we know that they were hand painted. And they're just delightful. They are, well, as a pair, you can imagine them as a nice ornament on a fireplace or maybe in a bathroom, something like that. Very tactile and really attractive.
Back in the barn, I examined the damage. It was looking bad. The universal joint that I had already replaced twice had completely failed. To make matters worse, half of the PTO drive shaft, which was now nicely greased, had slid off and was missing. I'd have to go and pace the field to find it. Fortunately, I didn't have to walk far before I found it in the grass. Every cloud. Well, I've had a disaster. There's no great damage, fortunately. But I'm going to have to build... I have a spare universal joint, but I don't want it to happen again. I have a feeling, what I think happened was, I think one of the circlips came off somehow. I thought they were all properly in. Anyway, the circlip came off, I think, and the bearing cap probably just worked its way loose. And then once that was loose, it fell apart, and the other one, the rest of the universal joint would have started shaking and shimmying and pushed the other one out or pulled the other one out, and then that just fell. So I haven't got the grass cut. I'll go and try and fix it. Yeah, this bearing is all broken here, so this is completely seized. So it's possible because this one was a bit stiff. Don't know if you can see that properly or not. Because either this bearing cap has broken when the whole thing was falling apart, which is possible, or this one was a bit stiff and I don't know, could it have overheated and just cracked? I don't know. Anyway, it's knackered. Some more lost time later and the joint was repaired. My weekly mistake count was ticking up fast. Now to fit the damn thing. Okay, well, I'm going to try again. I've repaired it. That's the last of the spare universal joints I've got. So if this one breaks, then it's knackered. If it breaks, then I'll have to replace, I think, the actual the joint. It's the whole joint, and nothing but the joint. We'll see what happens anyway. Fingers crossed. Even though I'd lost nearly half a day to problems, I wanted to take my time and make sure the PTO shaft wasn't going to fall apart again. After a few minutes, my confidence began to grow and I settled into it. I find cutting the grass with the tractor really relaxing. It's one of those jobs that stops you worrying about everything else around you. Yes, we have looming deadlines, the Château renovations are slipping behind, there's no fixed date when the swimming pool hole will be dug. But tractoring out in the field keeps my mind in the present and I stop worrying about everything else. It's just me and my little red machine. Until we were visited by the bad luck fairy again. So the latest problem, I noticed that the gyrobroyer wasn't lifting and the chain was a bit loose. So I looked down to discover that the pin is missing. The pin's fallen out. So it should look like that. The pin goes through and then it's locked. There's a lock pin that holds it in place. So either the pin broke, which is unlikely because they're really chunky. I guess the pin, the lock pin got knocked and it's fallen out and then this is rattled out. Oh. Are you going to help me find it, Bunty? Hey? Shall we go look for it? Well, I don't know where this bloody thing's going to be.
I'm the winner!
Hey!
It hasn't got its little friend with it.
Well, its little friend is the cause of the problem.
Yes. So its little friend is lost, but it wasn't a very good little friend.
No, at least his friend is cheap to replace.
Yeah, and this is, you don't want to, you're right, I didn't realise you don't want to drive over that.
No, that could dent the blade.
Yeah. So,
Oh, well done for finding it. Thank you.
it's okay.
Well, now Jane's found the pin, the next problem is getting this back on. I guess. Ow. Ow. Jane's eagle eyes had saved the day. I wasn't about to disconnect the PTO shaft again, so I just manhandled it back into position. So it took us nearly 20 minutes to almost attach the gyrobroyer, only to then discover that the drive arm was, it could extend and contract, which I didn't know, which makes a lot of sense because it makes putting it on a lot easier. So now I can take it off and put it on myself without Jane's help if I need to, because that was very tricky. It's been An interesting tractoring session today with quite a bit of wasted time. But you have days like that, I suppose. I will go and put the tractor to bed.
I'm really pleased with it. I know it's not as sharp and pristine as some people would want, but it's kind of got what I wanted, which is it's symmetrical and it emphasises the dimensions and the architecture of the chateau up to a point in one direction. You get nice views of the garden from the higher stories looking down, so it looks nice from above, looks nice towards the chateau, but probably the prettiest view is the one behind me, because you're looking out towards the lake and we've got a few wildflowers that we've left, a few pyramid orchids, and even the common buttercup just looking really sweet. So you've got a sort of cottage garden natural feel. Beyond that, got somewhere to sit with a parasol, we can have a couple of drinks. This part of the grounds gets sun nearly all day. In fact, if it wasn't for that tree, then it would be literally all day. But the tree casts a little bit of shade first thing in the morning. But apart from that, you've got sun all day until the sun goes down, because it's south facing, it's not shaded by the chateau, except in the very darkest days of winter. So I suppose you could say the garden is 4 cottage gardens, which are each kind of identical. I won't emphasize that too much because they're not absolutely identical, but they're more or less identical. So it's cottage gardens but arranged in a symmetrical way. They're not finished by any means. All the dahlias I'm growing, so I'm going to be putting out probably 5 dahlias in each bed, so about 20 or more dahlia plants will be going out when they are a little bit bigger, so in the next few weeks. So it will be full of flowers, and I'm also quite tempted by possibly putting in a climbing rose, maybe a clematis against the trellis. So it's going to be bursting with pretty cottagey blooms.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.